Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to this episode of Discussions with Davis. And this episode is a video adaptation of an older episode. In fact, I will be doing, I think it's 23 of these. The first 23 episodes of this show were audio only recordings. So I'm going back through and making videos to fit those audios. Sort of, just kind of a backfill. So you will be seeing a lot of still shots such as this, and a lot of interesting slides that I've put in such as this. And in our commitment to constantly make cool stuff, as you can see behind me and around, we've got construction going on. A lot of construction that we're doing to build a studio, our own studio, so we can continue to make a better and better show for your enjoyment. So without much further ado, on with the show. Okay, and we are go. So, Viv.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Introduce yourself to the listening audience.
Well, my name is Vivian, and I am Mark's mother-in-law.
Oops.
Yeah, get the right sound effect here.
I'll fix that in post.
Okay.
I promise I'll fix that in post, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll fix that too.
No, you won't.
Yeah, you're right. I won't. Editing's hard. Editing is hard work, and I'm lazy.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk to you about it. Tis the season. Tis the season for spooky, all things spooky, kooky, and goes bump in the night. Mm-hmm. And you've had some interesting experiences with that.
Yes, I have. I actually was the co-owner, person that started the group for the Tulare County Paranormal Society.
Wow. Now you're not engaged in that anymore, though.
No. This was back in about 2010, and it was before we moved out of state, and since have moved back, but we moved out of Visalia. So when I moved out of the area, then the group just kind of dwindled and stopped.
Yeah, so like many things, you get a group of friends on something, you start doing it a lot, and then it just kind of phases out.
Yeah.
I've recently gone through that in a unrelated matter. My online gaming, we had a circle of friends like every weekend. We were on there causing havoc, giving each other, making jokes and having fun and blowing stuff up on video games. And then one by one, we've all sort of wandered off and done other things. Mm-hmm. I think I was one of the first ones to leave, though. So, it's like I left to go do other things. And when I came back, I was like, hey, where'd everybody go? Hello. It's like I stepped outside for smoke, and the party came back in. The party's gone.
Yep. Crickets.
Yeah. Oh, sadly, I don't have that sound effect. I'll fix that in post. So we were talking about something I know you had firsthand experience with. I was talking with my friend Jay, and we started talking about Wolf Manor. Mm-hmm. That the building is gone, but the legend lives.
Yes, it does.
Ooh. I was trying to tell him about some of the things that you experienced there. You and I think it was Anna?
Actually, Anna was never able to go to the Wolf Manor, but she did know Todd Wolf quite well. So she was in communications with him. But before they tore it down, I was able to go over there and see the place before it came down. And since then, was asked to do I guess you would call it a seance on the land. We had permission from the owner of the land, and we had like a panel of people that were psychics and mediums and empaths and things like that. So they asked me to join in that and confirm that there are still actually spirits on the land. They didn't go anywhere just because the building came down.
So this is after, I know they tore about the sanitarium and a few years later the main building itself. This is after all the buildings were gone.
Everything was gone, yes.
Okay.
We were sitting in the middle of a field.
Okay, so to help the audience there, when you say seance, people start thinking hooded figures and candles, circles of candles, and chanting in Latin. No, I don't picture you doing that.
No,
not you were raised too Christian for that.
Yeah, it was actually just a bunch of people in folding chairs sitting in a circle and trying to communicate with people that weren't visible.
Well, that sounds like any Saturday night at the Elks Lodge.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that sounds more like a prayer circle. I don't know if you've ever been to an AA meeting.
No, I haven't, but yeah, it was kind of like that.
I have. It's not fun. It's really not fun.
It's not supposed to be.
It's not?
No.
Oh, I thought maybe I just got a bad meeting.
No, I know that you try to make everything fun, Mark, but...
Well, life's too short.
True.
Although, and not all of us are guaranteed an afterlife, so you got to enjoy what you got.
That's another program.
Yeah. Although, that is kind of topical. I mean, we're talking about... So, any experiences that you would be allowed to share, or would you like to share, things that happened in that seance?
Well, they did. They were able to communicate with a few people. The people that come to mind, there were, people that were like in and out. And the few that come to mind was Mary, who was a child at the sanitarium. She grew up there.
She grew up in a sanitarium.
Yes, her parents, I don't know if her parents owned it or if they just worked there, but she had her own room there. And that, before it was torn down, it was one of the most haunted rooms. Because
Wow.
I guess because her being a child, there was a lot of energy coming off of her, and as a result of out of her room. So we did confirm that she was still there. And there was another guy, I guess he was one of the patients, and he was very angry, not only at being where he was, but also that the building has been torn down now.
So, oh, yeah, that was his home,
Yeah.
kind of speaking.
Yeah.
Well, it's my understanding that haunting a place, being a spirit, has to do with an emotional charge, an energy tied to an emotional charge that is left in that space. Mm-hmm. So it kind of makes sense that a child would have that tie, because children operate on a much more intuitive and emotional level than most adults.
Right. Yeah.
After those of us have crossed the quote unquote age of reason. Mm-hmm. Whenever that's supposed to kick, whenever that's supposed to kick in. I think that varies a lot depending on the person.
Yeah, it does. It does, actually.
It's kind of like a t-shirt I saw. It said, so when's it, and it was a guy who was probably in his 60s wearing it and said, so when's this old enough to know better supposed to start?
I don't think some of us have ever gotten there.
No. That'd be my, I know some people like that. I'm not going to say their names. I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
It's probably wise.
So the guy, his spirit was there. Now, these spirits, were you able to send them to the next level? Or are they still in the area? Because I've often wondered, it's there was houses.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all that separated that place from a neighborhood full of families.
Right. Yeah.
Was a cinder block wall.
Right.
Which, if you're a non-corporeal being, cinder block may as well be tissue paper.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it's like trying to keep a cat it's like trying to keep a cat in a paper bag.
Good analogy. Yeah. There are still people there, and I am sure that that the houses around them probably have gotten some sort of communication from some of them. That does remind me. This is getting off topic, but that does remind me of when we lived in Visalia. the guy next door was the hearse driver from the cemetery, and he would bring the hearse home and park it next to our house at night. And there were spirits that were connected to that. And
to the hearse itself?
To the hearse. I guess
wow.
that was the last place that they were, when they were here. And
oh, hey, man, if you're going to be haunting a place, at least it's something stylish.
yeah. So we did get one that came into our house one night. We were laying in bed, and all of a sudden we heard a loud crash. And we were like, okay, what is that? So we got up and we were looking around the house. And in our front bathroom, we had a big picture, large picture that had glass over the front of it.
I remember the two cherub angel,
yes,
little baby angels.
Yes,
I remember that painting.
Yes, and so that was
your favorite painting.
Yes, it was. I was pretty pissed. Oh, can I say that?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll fix it in post.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, it had been. It looked like it had been taken and thrown down with both hands, and the glass had broken, because if it had just fallen off the wall for some reason, it would have fallen forward, and it probably would have been face down, and the glass, you could see, you can imagine the glass would have broken that way. But the way it was facing was...
It was a pretty big painting, too. It was kind of heavy.
Yeah, it was kind of...
I'd say it was at least 2.5 feet by 3 or something like that.
Something like that.
2.5 tall by 3 foot wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a lot of glass, and it was a very sturdy frame.
It was. And when we went in there, it was sideways, like if you're facing the door. And it was face up, and all of the glass was cracked on it and just still in the frame. It was just cracked, like it had been thrown down and just maybe stepped on,
Like thrown face, like it landed face up.
Right, yeah.
And all the glass was still in the frame.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was pretty sure that...
Yeah, see, I've seen stuff fall off walls. That usually doesn't happen. Something light, like a picture. You got your kid draws something, you hang it on the fridge, and the magnet slips off. That can wick outward and land place. But a painting, and that thing probably weighed a good 15 pounds. 10 pounds.
I don't know about that, but it wasn't light.
It definitely wasn't. It wasn't light enough to kind of float outward.
Right. No, that wasn't going to happen. Plus,
on its own,
change directions.
Change direction.
Anyway, so I was pretty mad, and I started to lay into whoever was there and say, whoever's here, you need to leave. This is my home. You've destroyed my property. Get out of here now. And, it left. We never heard anything from it again. And then we come to find out after that the guy next door was a hearse driver, and he had brought in the hearse home. So spirits can attach themselves to objects, places, cars, anything. If it was, like if the hearse was the last place that he was, his energy was still attached to that hearse.
Which kind of leaves a little bit of credibility. One of my favorite stories, Christine.
Oh, yeah.
That Stephen King novel. I love that. That was like always one of my favorite top 10 movies.
Yeah. So I guess it's possible. But anyway, yeah. So all that to say that we were, you can get spirits that have attached themselves to a certain place, and they can go into another home or whatever. And, I would imagine that probably the neighbors to Wolf Manor probably had some sort of interaction there.
God, I wonder how often, weird goings on that new Costco that's just right there.
Yeah.
On the side note, Costco, in spite of inflation, is holding their hot dog. The Costco dog is still $1.50.
I thought they discontinued that.
No. Oh. They put out a press release, I think it was Thursday.
Oh.
Yeah, so just a couple days ago, that said that the CEO put his foot down and said, no, it's staying at $1.50.
Well, good for him.
Oh, and my when I heard that, I was thinking, can I make it to Costco and back on my lunch hour? I mean, it's on the other side of town, but it'd be worth it. Can I do? I started laying out a map in my mind because, I've lived here forever. So I was like, if I take this road and this road and this road and this road, maybe, I don't know.
Instacart.
No. I try not to have too many apps on my phone. I've already got two. I actually do have too many apps on my phone. I'm going to have to start culling the herd. Which for me, that means I've got like 5.
I get that. Yeah.
So Wolf Manor, definitely haunted. You had a
Definitely.
seance there, which was basically a prayer circle and people sitting in lawn chairs trying to communicate with the dead. Did anybody get like possessed or something like that?
No.
Okay.
Not that I know of. No, everybody looked like they left intact and not bothered. So
Yeah. Again, I'm just trying to dispel what happens on TV. You don't see, good Mythbusters or not, ghost hunters and things like that. Like, oh yeah, all this stuff always happens like every episode. People start to think that that's real.
yeah, and ghost hunters, a lot of it is not. But that does open up the door to if you ever are out, excuse me, out doing things like this, investigating the paranormal or anything like that, when you're finished, you need to make sure that you tell whatever is there, you are not allowed to come home with me. You have to stay here. And if you feel like there's still a lot of heaviness around you, you can use sage and sage yourself before you go home.
Didn't that happen to one of the girls?
That happened to me.
That happened to you. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
After one of your investigations, was that in Visalia?
Yes, it was.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was.
You had a hitchhiking ghost.
Well, it came after. It came after I got home, and I didn't even feel anything before that. But we had gone to the cemetery to do a training for new people joining the group. And I believe I had told you before there was a matriarch.
I did. You told me about that, and I was able to look it up. That she's actually been seen by others, and that I think it's the same mausoleum. Every Friday, the gate opens on itself, or something like that.
Yeah, and it's a big place. You would know it if you went down the main road. You could see it.
Really?
So she apparently was not pleased with us being in there. And when we were there, the co-owner of our group is also a psychic medium as well. And she told her, you guys need to get out of here, because the people that were there, they were brand new and they were not being respectful. And that is one of the things that you have to make sure that you are when you're going anywhere to investigate anything paranormal, because basically it's their, depending on where they are after they pass, but a lot of times it's their home and they're like, what? I don't come into your home. Well, apparently when I got home from this training, I had gone in to take a shower, and all of a sudden I felt like this very heavy feeling, and it was cold. And I was like, and I knew that somebody was there because of that. I don't know if you want to go into this later, but I am empathic, and I can feel when there's something there. And I immediately started in with this is my home. You cannot be here. You need to go back. And I heard clear as day in my head, not audibly, but in my head, it said, then what's the difference? You were in my home. And I said,
well, they kind of got you there. That's turnabout's fair play, I suppose.
Exactly. And I said, you know what? You're right. Noted. We won't do that anymore. And it was gone. So
they just wanted to have their point made.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So,
So, when you're approaching a spirit, you pretty much got to approach it the way you would meeting a person. Well, 'cause they used to be people.
They are
in some
people.
ways, they are people. Okay.
And, a lot of times when they're alive, they are a certain type of personality, and they are the same personality when they're dead. There can be people that you come in contact with that are very, very sweet, and they're very respectful of you. And then there's people that are a-holes that call you names and throw things at you, So it just depends.
Kind of like the one you ran down into a particular alleyway in Visalia, Albert
was his name, yes.
he was not a kind person.
No, he was not happy that we were there, and it was next to the old jail, the very first jail, which was in the beginning of Visalia. It was Fort Visalia. It was the first fort there, and then they built the jail there, and the building is still there. The building still stands.
Fort Visalia?
Yes.
So we're talking all the way back to
the beginning.
Gotta fight the engine fighters.
Yeah, back that far. Yes.
Okay.
That was the first fort in Visalia, and they built the jail there.
Sounds like late 1800s.
I don't know the actual year, but it's probably around there.
Well, somewhere post Spanish occupation, but pre California becoming a state.
Okay.
That would be my guess, or somewhere in that range.
But yeah, there's an alley between there and the next building, which is a brick building that's been there for a long time too. And we used to go down there and just investigate. It was another one of the places that we would train people, because of the activity that was there. It was pretty active. And there was a spirit there, and his name was Albert. And we knew that because, like I said, Anna, the co-owner of the group, was a psychic medium, and she could actually communicate with him. And he would let us know that, oh, you're here again. What are you doing? You need to get out of here, things like that.
Kind of a cranky old man, the kind of guy who opens the door. Oh, God, not you again.
Exactly. That's a kind of a person that he is. And he used to tell Anna that she was a busybody and that she needed to go home.
Wow.
So, yeah, he
what
was
an old
there.
crank.
He wasn't real nice, but after a while, she would just, yeah, whatever, Albert,
Just kind of shrug him off.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So he was there all the time.
So he would get a little cranky on you, but he didn't actually throw anything. I mean, because it was an alleyway, so there's always junk laying around the alleyway.
There actually was one time that he did throw.
No.
I think maybe it was I can't remember what it was, but it seems like it was just like a pen or something real light,
like a small rock.
I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, he was telling Anna that, that she needed to just go home and maybe focus on her family and things like that.
Wow.
He was mean.
He was derogatory.
Yeah. And so she pretty much just cut him off, and then something flew in from the side and we're like, duck.
So now, was he the ringleader, or was there a small group of spirits in that, or was it just him, he chased everyone else off?
Well, he was pretty much there all the time. We kind of got that he was, kind of a drunk that, used to go drink around there, and that he would just come there and just drink, and so he was just he was there a lot of the time. So that's where he stayed.
Were you able to figure out when around his era?
No, actually, I don't know. Maybe Anna did, but I never really sat down to research that. But anyway, he was usually there. There were some other people that, that came in and out. There was one lady that was a prostitute. We could hear, heels coming towards us, like high heels.
Yeah.
And it would come towards us and then pass us and go the other way. Things like that. We didn't have anything that actually we were interacting with her on, but we could hear the heels.
I think I read something online about that one, because the alleyway next to the old jail, that became the restaurant that is now Jack and Charlie's, I think.
Yes.
Okay. And things always happened in I think you said the bathroom.
Yes.
So is that where you heard the heels, or?
No. This was out in the alleyway that we heard the heels.
Oh, okay.
But we had gone. We did get permission from the manager at Jack and Charlie's and to be in there, and not buy anything. But
I imagine after a while you'd want something to drink.
Actually, yeah, we did start frequenting that place. But
is it good food?
It was good food. It was expensive, but it was
That's
good food.
Not sponsored, but we'll plug a place if we like them.
Yeah. Anyway.
Jack and Charlie's. Check it out if you happen to be in Visalia.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, you go into the bathroom and there's a lot of times where you're standing at the mirror and you could feel somebody behind you. You would go into one of the stalls and be doing your business, and all of a sudden the lights would go out.
Wow. Now, the lights run out. Were they on a timer or anything like that?
No, it's a switch, a flip up and down switch. No timer, anything like that.
Because this is the public restroom to a restaurant. So,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. But, in the beginning, it was part of the jail. So it could have been maybe one of the...
maybe 100 years ago, that was a cell.
Exactly. Anyway, so we got to the point where we would go in there and the lights would go out and we'd go, can you please turn the lights back on? Can't see in here. Please turn the lights back on. And they'd go back on.
Wow.
So,
okay. So you're making contact with these people.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you're respectful, if they are going to want to communicate with you, they'll communicate back and forth with you. So
Actually, it's got to be terribly frustrating because they're trying to communicate. They're probably trying to communicate with people all the time, but they just feel like everyone ignores them.
Yeah.
So they just probably get used to being ignored. And so then when somebody tries to talk to them, they're like, no, nah, people, you had your chance.
So
Best roll on, son.
There's quite a bit of activity in Jack and Charlie's.
Wow. So. Now, Jack and Charlie's is also kind of right near the Depot restaurant.
Across the street, yes.
It's like across the street. So there's just a hive of activity there.
Mm-hmm. All of downtown really is really active. Downtown
That's
Visalia.
something I'm noticing. It's like just about anywhere, if the downtown's like 100 years or more older, there's probably some specters hanging around. Because when I was telling you about my friend Jay, he worked at a old folks home right near Fulton Mall.
Right.
Next to, and you said...
Hotel Fresno.
Your ex-husband, Steven, used to work there.
No, across the street.
Oh, across the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Maston Towers, definitely haunted.
Yes.
Because it's an old folks home. It's a hospice, I think it would use the word. It's like people that don't have much time, and they are also kind of on the low end of the income range.
Right. So
they've probably not had a good life. So there's a lot of emotional charged energy. Did you ever get a chance to go there with any?
No, I didn't. We really didn't go anywhere in Fresno when I was doing this because, we lived in Visalia at the time.
Yeah, it's a good hour's drive.
Yeah.
You don't want to get, drive an hour, do that for like 5 or 6 hours, and then have to drive an hour home.
Exactly.
And it's all at night.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that, and basically that place and,
you're also working your 9 to 5 during the week too.
Yeah. Well, there's that, you got to pay the bills.
Yeah. So, well, I'm just saying, the hours weigh on you, you're working your 9 to 5 and then going out at night to try and commune with the dead.
Yeah.
It wears on you, man.
It does. It makes for a long day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that was before the invention of Netflix and chill.
Yes, it was.
Back then we had Blockbuster and chill.
Then you had to return the movies.
Yeah, dating ourselves there.
Yeah.
But the building next to that, where Steven used to work, and you were started to tell me about that beforehand.
Yeah, that was the original Hotel Fresno. It was like way, way old, and it had been boarded up, and there had been people that have had sightings there. Hearing things in there, people looking out the top windows. Of course, those wouldn't be boarded up because why do it?
It's all, I mean, that was like 5 floors high.
Oh, no, I think it was more than that. I'm not sure.
I'm trying to remember.
It was pretty tall.
Yeah.
Anyway, people leaning out the windows, things like that. And, I don't know if they were able to make sure that wasn't just somebody, breaking in there and squatting. But anyway, there were quite a few people that have said that place is haunted, although I don't have firsthand notion of that. So
Well, I wouldn't doubt it. Fresno was pretty old. It was established as a rail depot in 1872. So, and downtown kind of sprawled around it. And I always try to use Fulton as a landmark because that's one of the oldest parts of Fresno. It's right next to the rail line.
right.
Or at least pretty close to it. So, it's just sort of right there. Any place with a downtown, it just seems like that's where everything kind of spooky spirals out from there.
Well, it's usually the oldest,
Yeah.
oldest part of town. So yeah, it makes sense.
And I've heard that they're once again trying to renovate and reopen Hotel Fresno.
I heard that.
See how that goes.
Yes.
That's like Beth and I were talking earlier, and it's like, good luck building anything on that land that used to be Wolf Manor.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
It will be interesting.
As
to
far as I
see.
know, it's still empty.
It is.
Anybody that lives in the Fresno Clovis area knows that land and is going to have nothing to do with it. They're going to have to try and find somebody from like 4 states away that doesn't know where Fresno on a map.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's true. Or they could do a hotel and cash in on it being haunted. One never knows.
Yeah. Good luck. I mean, part of the reason it got shut down was that the Clovis City Council didn't like having a haunted house that close to Old Town, which is this clean, prim, full of coffee shops, romanticized version of the Old West.
Right, exactly. And plus, I think they were getting tired of getting phone calls on their 911 lines.
Oh, so you'd heard that too?
Yes.
Oh, see, I wasn't sure about that because Jay told me about that, and I thought he was just adding that in to be spicy.
No. That actually happened. That was one of the reasons why they wanted it torn down, because they kept getting phone calls from the house, and there was no electricity, there was no phone, there was nothing there.
Yeah, when they set up the haunted houses for Halloween, they ran that off generators.
Yes. Yeah, so they were getting things like that, and plus, people were hearing about this, and they were breaking in, trying to see if they could find a ghost,
Oh yeah,
and so
every once in a while, homeless or tweakers would go in there to try and squat in there for a while.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Got to chill my spine just now, just thinking about that. So moving back to Visalia, coming, hard jump back there. So the old rail depot, the old jail, a dairy creamery. You were telling me about Oak and Church Streets. And, this is just a little hub of activity there. And the Darling Hotel.
Yes. The Darling Hotel used to be the old county Department of Social Services. And we used to go there quite a bit. And we, of course, couldn't get in there. We would have given our eye teeth to get in there. But and then we heard later that it had been sold and they turned it into a hotel, which I am just dying to go down there and check it out,
Now, careful when you say dying.
I'd fit in, right?
Yeah. It'd even be the ultimate incognito investigation.
Exactly, yeah.
Better. So the mausoleum lady, she was the one that told you to get out.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
She got all up in your face.
She kind of did, yeah.
Wow. Kind of lost my train of thought. That was kind of. I had gone online and looking for a few other things. The Bastille in Hanford.
Yes.
Which similarly was an old jail. I know Hanford's a little ways down the road. I don't know if you'd been there, but also the Fox Theater. That was the ice machine.
That wasn't a ghost. That was the ice machine.
What other places had you guys had a chance to investigate? Because I know you did this for a good while.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah, for a while. Like I said before, the old jail, Jack and Charlie's in there. The Depot Restaurant. I'm going down my list right now. The Department of Social Services. The Fox Theater is absolutely haunted.
Have you been there?
Yes, we did an investigation there.
Oh, wow.
And we saw there was a shadow person in the lobby. which is basically a spirit that looks like shadow. It's all dark, you know. You can actually see it. And,
Like just kind of a almost like a cardboard cutout of a person, just a silhouette.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And we saw one of those in the lobby area, and there's also one that in the, I believe in the balcony is where we saw it. There was somebody sitting there like they're waiting for the movie start, you know.
Bring on Chili Willy.
And also in the projectionist room, we got a lot of activity. Yeah.
Now, see, theaters, to my mind, don't sound like a place that'd be haunted because it's, you know, it's a place where people go to have fun.
True, but that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be, you know, like some tragedy there. A lot of times, you know, you'd get a lot of energy from people enjoying something or, you know, hearing music. You know how you feel like you're hearing a really moving piece of music. You know. Things like that. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad energy. It just is energy.
Energy is energy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, Fox Theater, is that a movie theater or is it more like a Broadway stage play theater?
I believe
I've never been there.
They have acts there now. They have, you know, like musical acts that come to Visalia, and that's usually where they have them. I don't know if they still show movies there or not. I don't remember, but they do have live acts there. It's like a auditorium, you know, the
So
one
theater,
of the old,
theater, not just a movie theater.
right?
It's a theater,
right.
theater.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's really nice. It's really pretty. They have restored it back to the way it was when it first was built.
Cool.
So yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll have to go there.
Yeah, we should take a road trip.
Road trip. All right.
So,
You know, I mean, I do need to get out of Fresno more often. I am such, you know, the Fresno fanboy, but you get me outside of here and I'm just like, where am I?
yeah.
I'm never lost within within city limits.
Uh-huh.
You know, you could plunk me in any random part of town, I will find my way home. Doesn't matter. But you get me outside of it, I get lost. I know.
You got to get out more.
Yeah, it's just a schedule thing for me. You know, it's just getting out.
Finding the time.
Yeah, there's always some thing that needs fixing, some chore I gotta do. Someone's car's broken.
Exactly.
Usually mine or my mom's.
Or mine.
Well, you have modern car, and so yours is usually you guys take it to the dealer or something like that because you got the warranty. You know.
Right.
Although you know. Murphy's Law, warranties always expire 3 days after the invoice is paid.
Exactly.
So, you know, gotta watch out for that. And personal grievance note, that is becoming more and more and more true.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God. Can we stop making engines out of plastic? It's not working. Can we just not? You know, that are, you know, making toys for kids out of plastic works, you know, the Tyco and Fisher Price cars, but us adults, we prefer things made out of metal.
True. That's absolutely.
And it's the plastic engine components. It's not working. I won't get on my soapbox there.
Okay.
That's
Getting
enough.
back to topic.
Getting back to topic. Spooky
Yes.
stuff. So were there any, what would you say is like the word, you know, okay, so energy is energy. Was there ever a ghost that you thought, oh, I just want to take you home. You're fun. You're like, you know.
No.
No?
No, I never wanted to take anybody home.
Or at least when, you know, like became a buddy that you know, he's like, oh, we should do an investigation. I just want to go check in on this one, you know.
Yeah.
Was there any ever ghost that was kind of a happy one? You know, where was Casper, the friendly ghost in all this?
There wasn't one, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. The only one that we really had continuous interaction with was Albert, and he was kind of a pain. So, okay there, Mark?
Yeah. So there was no Caspers to be had.
No, not really. No.
Not even in the Fox Theater.
No.
Bummer.
Just people we came across and then pretty much just left there to do their own thing, you know?
So they can be happy. It's just most of them are depressed or angry.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say most of them. A lot of them, you know, you can interact with and they will answer your questions if they can. And if you have different equipment, in order to do that. A lot of them will try and help you know that they're there by using that equipment.
Like what equipment?
We used to do a lot of EVPs, which are electric voice phenomenon. And basically it's just a recording.
Like a cassette player?
Like one of the little digital microphones, players. We would take that and we would just turn it on and leave it, out where we were. And a lot of times we would ask questions. A lot of these ghost shows, they're trying to do EVPs and they're doing question after question after question, and they're not even allowing anything there to answer them.
It almost comes off like an FBI interrogation.
Exactly.
Freaking annoying.
So what you need to do is, if you're going to do that, you need to ask a question. Do you know what year it is? Or what year are you in? Things like that. What's your name? Just different questions that you can ask them to document that they're there. But you have to let them have the time to answer you. And because a lot of times they're trying to get the energy up to answer you. And if you're already asking them something else, they're like, well, hell, I'm not going to talk to you. You're not even going to listen to me.
Yeah,
So,
you can't rapid fire questions at them.
exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you gotta give it a minute.
Yeah. And again, that comes down to being respectful of them. So
Okay. I think you told me that there was one time you put like a flashlight on the ground.
yeah. We had the high tech equipment, but we found that we had a lot more luck with things that everybody has, like a flashlight. Or there are things, if you wanted to see if you could find any type of interaction with a ghost or a spirit or whatever, you can use different things in your house, like a compass. If you have a compass, if a spirit gets near a compass, it'll whack out. It'll just kind of go. And there, some people put out, like if they think a house is haunted, they'll put like baby powder on the floor, see if it has been disturbed,
Baby powder, like just regular, got it at the dollar store, cornstarch baby powder.
Exactly, yes.
And compass, like, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts compass.
Yep.
Which way is north?
Right.
Wow.
So we used to
really
use...
basic stuff.
Yeah, basic stuff. And,
you don't even have to have a special license to get that.
No, not that I know of. We used to use a flashlight. We would go down to the alley and we would just place the flashlight down on the ground. And when we felt like something was around us, we used to, ask them if, can you please, if you're here, if there's something here, can you please turn on the flashlight? And a lot of times it would flicker and then come on, Then we would ask questions and say, if you, like yes or no questions, yes for, turn it off, and no, leave it on, things like that. And a lot of times by doing that, you could ask it questions and they would respond and let you know what their answers were. And nobody was touching the flashlight. Nobody human was touching the flashlight.
It's like you put it on the ground and take a few steps back.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And it would turn off and on by itself.
Wow.
So, so there are things that you can use that you don't have to go out and get expensive equipment.
I mean, flashlights, again, Walmart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nothing special needed, man. Some double A's.
Yeah. And get a lot of double A's because they will drain those batteries fast.
Or, if you really want to lay down some bucks, you get the rechargeable. I got a flashlight at work that's, rechargeable. Mm-hmm. So, but that thing was like $100. Well, as a mechanic, I buy stuff off the tool trucks, and yeah, that's always more expensive.
Of course, yes.
But it's pretty durable. I've dropped it so many times. I don't know how. It's like you look at it and you would think like, wow, man, did somebody's dog chew on this thing? But it still works.
Yeah, it does.
I guess it was worth it.
And we've also had when we went to the cemetery, there we went to the children's section. They have a section in Visalia that for little children that have passed on.
Oh wow! Like
Yeah.
like, how would a child be buried and not be buried near like a parent or a family member or something? Like just a kids section?
Yeah, a lot
Like
of
orphans?
them. Yeah, a lot of them were orphans, or I don't know why, but I assumed they were orphans. But there's a section where a lot of little children were, and we would go there, and we were leaving there one time, and they didn't want us to go.
Oh man!
So
Come play with us.
when I went to my car, Anna and I were walking toward my car, and I had the key fob in my hand, and I would reach for the door, and I would unlock it, and then I would reach to the door, and it would lock itself again.
Oh wow!
And it did that 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, Anna, I'm not locking that, and I'm not unlocking
That was your old Solara.
Yes. And she said, okay, here. She goes, you might be hitting the button. I said, I swear I'm not, And she said, okay, put your keys on top of the car and walk away. And I said, okay. So I did that. And then she said, okay, if there's anyone here, you need to let her go home, because she needs to go home to her family. And then it unlocked by itself. And she said, we'll come back and we'll visit you if that's okay. And it locked again. And she said, okay, well, we're going to come back. So go ahead and unlock it, and we'll see you next time. And it unlocked. So
wow. And this is just a simple, this is a 2000 Toyota Solara. I remember that car.
Yeah.
And the key fobs and those things were pretty simple. It was just like 2 buttons.
Right.
Lock and unlock.
Exactly. So yeah, and then that was going off by itself, and we're like, wow.
And you put the keys on the roof.
Yes.
Wow. And if it was a cloth top too, it was
Yes,
a convertible.
It was a convertible. Yeah. So yeah, that was interesting.
So I'm just trying to build the minds of our listeners here. What actually happens when you go investigating, and just kind of share spooky stories. Because I know a lot of time investigating is a lot of standing around.
Exactly.
It's like fishing.
Yeah.
You get to the lake, you put your boat out, you throw the reel, and wait.
Right. You don't just walk in and just have things go crazy. A lot of times you're sitting there for hours and hours and hours and doing nothing, and you're not even talking because you don't want to miss something, Anna used to say, yeah, you get to know the other people's fart smells pretty good. So she's like, oh yeah, that was Mel.
Oh man. Oh.
So yeah, you do get to know everybody pretty well, but a lot of it is just sitting there and doing nothing and just listening. And if you feel like, or you can hear something, then you start trying to interact with it. So
was there a good number of times like you got somewhere that you'd heard as haunted and just like came home empty-handed?
Yeah. Oh
wow.
Yeah. It just depends on whether the people there want to.
Yeah, they don't show that in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, there's a lot of places like
Wouldn't
that.
make for good telly.
Yeah, true. So,
do you ever thought about getting back into it, or try to raise up a group around town?
I thought about it a couple times, but like you said, I just don't have the time, There are times when, when I thought, okay, well, that place, I feel like there's something there.
Yeah.
And,
because you said you're empathic?
Yeah.
Wow. See, I got to get you to my mom's house.
I'm not sure I want to go over there.
Well, that house, like I said, anything 100 years, well, that house is due to turn 100.
Wow.
Built in 1924.
My goodness.
It is like the oldest thing on the neighborhood. It's one of the few houses in the area that has a basement.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I think the basement may have been an add-on after the initial construction. Just because of how the house is laid out, it doesn't seem like that would be part of the original construction. Because unless the front of the house used to be at a different part, because the original, it's kind of laid out like an egg carton. 3 rooms deep, 2 rooms wide.
Mm-hmm.
And the front of the house right now, I've been trying. I have not been able to find old pictures of that area because I guess it was just an uninteresting area for a long time, at least until Roosevelt High School was built. It was just an unassuming little hamlet, near the fairgrounds. That the front door faces northward now, and then there's the living room, and to the right of that is a front bedroom, and then through there you go, there's a dining room, to the right of that is the bathroom, and then the third room is a kitchen, and to the right of that is the back bedroom. So you got 2, 2, and 2. Mm-hmm. Well, originally I think the house was kind of an L shape, that you had the 2 front rooms, a dining room, and a kitchen, and that the bathroom and the back bedroom were added on later because the roof, the ceiling in those rooms is kind of slanted, especially in the bathroom, and that the walls are different textures. Mm-hmm. One's plaster, the other's drywall. So,
yeah, it's probably an add-on.
Yeah. And that the basement starts halfway through the house. It's in the back half. So I think that was added on later on.
Could be.
But it's, like I said, it's 100 years old, and I've had a few things happen in that house when I was living there that don't add up. Mm-hmm. One of them was that I was sitting in the front bedroom. My sister was in the back bedroom on the phone, and I don't know if you remember from the kooky 90s, the clear plastic phones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had one of those because I thought it was really cool. It was purple. Mm-hmm. I had that, but I had upgraded to a Garfield phone.
Okay.
Yeah, man, Garfield. So I put that on the shelf, because it was still good, so why throw it away? Mm-hmm. I'll figure out something to do with it. So I put that on a shelf to use my Garfield phone. Well, I'm sitting at like the very front wall of the house. My sister she's 12, being a little preteen girl. She wants to talk to her friends on the phone. She goes to my dad's room to use the phone in there to try and get some kind of privacy, some semblance of privacy in a small house. Mm-hmm. And so she's on the phone in there, and I could hear her voice coming through the unplugged little plastic phone, kind of echoing through there. And it's like, I could hear her voice coming through the wall, all the doors were open. So I could hear her talking, like the way you would from another person in the next room. But more clearly, I could hear her voice coming through that phone.
Right.
Pick up the phone. I picked it up, and it stopped. It's like,
Psych.
Okay. Yeah, it's unplugged. There's no wire here. Put it back on the shelf. A few minutes later, it starts going again.
Somebody's playing with you.
I guess. I mean, I wouldn't be, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a few other smaller things that happened in there. You're pretty sure you're alone, but you can kind of hear somebody talking. Mm-hmm. It sounds like somebody's in the next room, or you go to find something and it's been moved. I just always figured I was forgetful about where I put my things. Turns out I am. Welcome to adulthood. We always forget where we put our keys.
Yeah.
Where's my phone? Somebody ring it.
I'm not the only one that does that, huh?
No, just about everybody does. I think once you get past 30, that starts happening more and more. The CRS starts to develop. Mm-hmm. I forgot to ask you about Main Street. Mm-hmm. Visalia Main Street. Mm-hmm. Now, does that just kind of cut through the middle?
Well, not through. Well, yeah, I guess cut through the middle of downtown. But yeah, there is a lot of activity if you just walk down the main street. I think it's because there are tunnels under Visalia, under the main street. Where
tunnels. Like tunnels, like service?
Like tunnels that used to have opium dens down there.
Really? Now, has this been confirmed? Because a lot of people have heard the legends of tunnels through Chinatown here in Fresno, which were debunked.
Well, we actually had one of our members, Anna, went down there, and she was with another group, and she was able to go down into those tunnels, but not very far, because they had fallen in. They had caved in certain places. So, yeah, they are there. They're absolutely there. So I'm sure that...
Visalia?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, so I'm sure that there was a lot of energy coming off of those places, just
Oh,
because
God.
of
Horrible things happen in dens.
exactly, yeah, yeah.
Especially if anybody was caught in one of those cave-ins.
Oh yeah, wouldn't that be awful?
That's a horrible way to die.
Yeah. So yeah, so those are, and you could walk down the street and you can feel things. There was, many times there we felt things around us. In fact, that was the first place where I was aware that I was empathic. And
Oh, that's something I should have asked you. Is like, how did you realize that you are?
well, I was walking down one of the streets there, and all of a sudden I just felt a heaviness on me, and I was so sad. I was sad enough to make me, I just started bawling. I just started crying sobbing. And
Like uncontrollably, like
Yes.
emotional breakdown.
yes.
Wow.
And where I
And-
was fine just a second ago. And Anna knew enough to where, she knew that a spirit was, using me to let everyone know how upset she was, and Anna basically turned around and laid into it and said, you need to get off her and you need to leave her alone. And, basically read her the riot act.
Wow. Put some fear into her, huh?
Yes. And so she was my protector. But after that, she explained to me, what it was and why, and let me know that, you are an empath. And I had known all during when I was growing up, I was very sensitive to other people's emotions. If somebody was mad and I walked in the room, I could feel it, and or if somebody was incredibly sad or, different emotions that were very strong. People, if I go to a funeral, oh man, it's like I have to surround myself and just put up boundaries because it's just overwhelmingly
The cumulative
sad, yeah.
emotion of the event. Yeah.
Right. So I can't even get through it unless I do that. But so yeah, and she basically told me that what that was and helped me to be able to use that in
Wow.
order to investigate things like that. And so when something is around, I can feel it. I can feel the energy, and I can feel the emotions that they're having. So yeah, so leads me to a story where we were going by the old library in Visalia. It used to be one of the first schoolhouses on that land, and then they turned that into the library. And we were down there walking around doing things, and I felt like there was somebody around me. We were actually across the street from the library, and I turned to her and said, "Something's here." And she said, "Yeah, there's somebody here, and it's a guy, and he's wearing a hoodie." And she goes, "I feel like he OD'd or something around here." And I said, "Okay, yeah, I can feel that." And all the while taking pictures. We took pictures everywhere, and then reviewed them later. And when I got home, your listeners can't see this, but this is the picture that I had come up.
Wow.
It's actually a picture of the ghost that she described, and one of the best.
Oh, send that to me. That'll be the thumbnail for the episode.
Okay. So yeah, that came out, and I was like, oh
So
wow, that's
the form on the right side, is
the actual person that I felt, and she described to me.
Yeah, there's two forms I'm seeing there.
Right.
There was one kind of tall one in the center, and then one on the right.
And she did say that there's more than one. When I said I feel something, and she said there's more than one here. So yeah.
So where that's across the street from the old library?
From the library, yeah.
From the library. Wow.
Yeah. So
ghosts aren't always 100 years old or something. It could be fairly recent.
Absolutely,
Okay?
yeah.
Well, that answers the question of a meme I saw a while ago.
I think I saw that.
It's like, where are all these old ass ghosts from the prairie days? Where are we going to get one? And it's like, it's from 2009. It's Brandy.
Yep.
Well, there we go. We got one in a hoodied sweatshirt. So that's fairly contemporary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So that was when. So you just figured you were really sensitive to other people's emotions, which was probably very handy in the childhood. You guys had a very busy and active childhood.
Yeah.
We can share that if you want or not. But that was your realization that you're empathic. You're just walking down the street and
Right.
that happened.
Yeah.
And you were with Anna. So how did you meet Anna?
You know, I've known Anna for so long, I can't even remember how I met her. But we just, when we met, we just clicked. It's like she's my sister, you know.
Okay. So you're just sisters from way back.
Maybe it's sisters from another life. I don't know. But we clicked, and we were a good team. And before we even knew, I even knew she was a psychic medium. She, you know, I went to her one time and I said, you know, I don't know if you believe this or not, but I think, you know, this. And she's like, oh yeah, I believe it.
She's like, tell me something I don't know.
Yeah. So then we found that we had this common interest, and we decided to start this group together.
Wow.
So.
Now, your parents' house, I know that's had a lot of activity. Have you ever felt anything there?
Yeah, there's somebody in my parents' house, and they are messing with my mom big time.
Really?
Yeah, that's why she doesn't like to stay there alone at night, you know, when Dad was in the hospital. She can see spirits. She didn't like people to know that. And so she would tell me, yeah.
Well, they were raised fire. Both me, Mom, and Papa were raised fire and brimstone, old school Christian.
Right.
So that's all demon stuff to them. That's the devil.
And I had to explain to her
if it ain't an angel, it's the devil.
Yeah, I had to explain to her that that it's not that black and white. You know, there are spirits that can visit us. You know, and they can be your family members. They can be somebody just wanting to check on you, you know, in and out things. And there are some people that, you know, I don't know who it is, but they take things from her and hide them. And it takes us forever to find whatever it is.
So is that where her benevolence money goes? Or is that just her forgetting?
I think it's a little bit of both.
A little column A, a little column B?
Yeah. Yeah, but there are many times where I have seen where I've gone over there and she's like, can you help me find this? Can you help me find that? And we've torn that house apart. And then we stop looking, and about 2 hours later, it's sitting there on the counter, you know?
Oh.
Yeah. So
they're a prankster, and they're not nice about it.
Exactly. And I told her, I said, you know, maybe, because, you know, she had brothers the only brother she has alive now is Fred in Texas, and all of her other brothers have passed away. And I said, maybe it's your brother. I said, I think Bob would do that. And she's like, I don't know, maybe. So
Uncle Bob?
Different Uncle Bob, you're thinking.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
not
that's
the one
my dad's side.
Okay. Because I was thinking of the one that lived in Frisco.
No, that's my dad's side. Yeah.
So there's two Uncle Bobs.
There's two Uncle Bobs.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, it's a larger family tree. You got to help me out.
So yeah, I'm positive that somebody is there messing with her, and it's making her crazy. But yeah.
I mean, so you think it's somebody that's in the family, and you think they're just messing with her just to, like, they don't realize it, or is it just like?
I kind of get that. That's what I kind of get from the feeling.
Is there any pattern to the objects?
No. It's just something that, you know, I need that, and I go look for it where it was, and that's not there. But I know that I think it was her mom that when my niece was no, I'm sorry, not my niece. My niece told me this when my brother's ex-wife, who was then his wife, was staying with them in the back bedroom.
Okay. The blue room.
Actually, no, I take that back. It was in the needle room, the front room.
Okay.
So she was sleeping in that room, and she woke up, and there was an elderly lady there basically just yelling at her. She said, I couldn't hear it, but I could see she was upset at me, and she was yelling at me.
Wow.
And she said she got up and ran, you know. But I think that it was probably my grandmother, my mother's mother.
Okay.
And she knew that she knew that this person would do things that would hurt her family. And so I think that she was letting her see her to say, you know, I know what you're going to do and it's not cool, you know. So.
Wait, that the spirit had would yell at people that would hurt the family, or?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the niece was doing bad habits.
Okay, let's start over.
You kind of lost me. Can you use like a letter to signify each person? Because you kind of lost me.
Okay, forget the niece. She's just the one that told me the story.
Okay.
All right, so it was my ex-sister-in-law.
Okay.
My brother's ex-wife.
Okay.
But when they were still married. Okay, so that's who it was that it happened to.
Okay.
And so she manifested herself before her and was yelling at her. So I know that there have been sightings there.
Wow. And that house was built new. So it's not like it was built on, you know, it's not like hundreds of years old. Mm-hmm. No, it was built in the mid-70s?
Yes.
Mid-70s.
Yeah.
So kind of old, but not ancient old.
Right. Yeah.
Not like downtown.
Right. And they're the only owners that have ever been there.
Yeah. It was a new construction.
Yeah.
So these are spirits that have traveled there from other places, attached themselves to a person or something, and followed them there.
Yeah, or it could be that there's a portal around there somewhere or something. Who knows? You know,
Indian burial ground.
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, San Joaquin Valley was full of Indian natives, so I don't know.
Which brings me to one thing. I just want to say, if anybody is out there messing with a Ouija board, you need to not.
Just don't.
Yes.
Just don't.
Yes. And just because you're opening a door and most of the people don't know that you have to close that door. And if you just open that door and walk away, that door is going to stay open.
Mm-hmm.
So it could, you know, something like that could have been a portal by somebody around that area that might have been doing that. So.
Somebody in the area, because definitely not memes and peeps.
No.
Ooh.
That was bad.
Again, that's the devil.
Yes. So, yeah, it could have been that. But she has woken up many times, she's told me, and there were people in her room.
Memes?
Yes.
Meemaw has?
Yes.
Wow.
So that's why she will not stay there by herself at night if she can help it.
Wow. Okay. See, I don't know. I didn't know if you'd ever told Beth any of that.
I told Beth.
Okay.
Yeah, I told her that.
Okay. So I was like, don't share anything you don't have. Don't get yourself in trouble.
No. I told Beth that.
Okay. Because this is going on the internet. Wow. See, I hadn't really heard that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So my mom is also empathic, as was my grandmother was empathic too, which I came to find out. So it's hereditary, and I believe Beth is as well.
I don't know. She's never really told me, so
she can differentiate people, their emotions really well. She can pick up on that.
Yeah, I know she can usually read me pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
I just figured that's because we've been together for a long time.
Well, that could be, but also it could be, you know, like if you walk into a place and you know somebody is not on the level right away. Some people can't see it. Some people know right away. They know their energy. They know what they're capable of doing. They just feel it, you know, like somebody that you know that I know. And so they... So anyway, if you walk into a room and you just automatically feel an energy coming from that person, and you just don't know why, but you don't like them, or you need to get away from them.
Oh, that slimy feeling.
Yeah.
You know, like the used car salesman or something. You know, you just walk up to somebody and you just know this person's a dirtbag.
Exactly.
You don't know why. You've never met them before. You just know. Dirtbag alert.
Right. And there's nothing to go on. It's just you feel it. You know?
Yeah. It's just an intuitive sense.
Yes. So you can read people very well.
So all people kind of have an intuitive sense. It's just that it's, for some, it's more so.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So.
I just didn't want everyone that hears that and thinks, oh my God, I can read people. I'm an empath. No, calm down. Calm down. There's more to it than that.
Yes. So, yeah.
We'll start wrapping this up. Hey, thank you very much for sharing. I'll fix a lot of this in post.
Good.
I promise. Yeah, I totally will.
I'll be listening.
I think even the ice machine was laughing at me there. Like, I can hear, I don't know if that's coming through, but it's clanking away. Mm-hmm. That's not spooky sound effects added for dramatic effect. That's just the fridge.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, thank you again, Viv, for sitting down and having those out and telling me about the wide world of Visalia and things that happened here in town that I had not heard of. I didn't know.
Well, thanks. Glad to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Let's see if I can get the right button. There it is. Yeah, I got it.
Thank you.
Yeah. They love you. They really love you. All right. So yeah, we should probably start wrapping this up. Thank you again for sitting down and doing this and sharing all those fun stories.
My pleasure.
And experiences. And, is there any special thanks or shout outs or hellos, anybody out there?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my partner in crime, the co-owner and co-creator of the former Tulare County Paranormal Society, Anna Campbell, and my BFF. And miss you, girl.
Thank you, Anna. Well, Anna, we miss you. We miss you. Stop by, say hi. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Stay spooky. Well, that brings this episode to a close. If you enjoyed this conversation, feel free to tell 2 friends and spread the word. Spread the Lord, spread the love, spread the scariness. And join us next week when I sit down again with my buddy Jay Manzo and we talk about Halloween movies. We're going to be talking about haunted cars, Ghostbusters, things that go bump, all manner of movies that make us, well, jump right out of our skin. See you next week. Stay spooky.